worked, Zach. I think it worked. Hopefully, we'll see, because I'm waiting on the YouTube side to see. It says, we'll see. We're about to see if we're live or not. Chat, help us out here. I got a funny feeling. I got a funny feeling here, Zach, that we might not be live, but we're about to find out. While we're waiting, let's.
I'm watching it on YouTube. I'm not seeing us live yet.
Okay. What is? Well, it says 3 people are watching on YouTube.
It's because it's pushing it to a different one.
Oh my God! Why would it do that?
It pushed it to the UFL 25 schedule.
I'm gonna fix that.
You know what? Just kill it and go to the other one. And
it won't let me go. Yeah. Well, we're gonna stay on this stream. Here, watch this, guys. I'm doing it on the fly. Save. Oh, but you didn't think I could do that. Watch this. Boom, boom, boom. Edit the description. If you're watching this in real time, you're like, wow, the ref is so cool. How is he doing these things? Oh my God, look at that. Now on the fly. 2 sleeves, Zach, both full of tricks. We're about to do 2 things here.
This looks incredible.
First, we're just gonna delete this other video or set it to, let's just set you to private, because nobody needs to see that wrong video. And then here's the beauty. Here, you know what's really wonderful about this, Zach? The link is now wrong on social media.
it is wrong.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add that. We're gonna click this button. Okay. Whew. We are making so many strides here, Zach. Chat, let us know how you're feeling. Let me go into the right chat now.
Good news is I can see the chat on our end, so that's good.
Oh, you can.
We tell you what, we'll fix this stuff up, guys. We're gonna launch from the top.
Oh, the live stream! Oh my God! I just have to try. Oh, Zach! Oh my God! Look at what's on the screen.
Yes. There we go.
And so, what's going on here, Zach? I think you're like,
I'm not doing anything. I'm watching.
You're like much bigger than I am on the screen. Do you see the screen?
I know. This is like a Colin Coward J-Mac situation right now.
Hold on. So if there we go.
It's like hello.
All right. Let me. Okay. Let me go to Twitter now. Big news, Zach. You want to give him the intro while I?
Oh no, we'll start from the top. We're gonna start from the top. That's my plan. You said
we'll set up editing on YouTube, on Twitter.
That's what we are going to do. But yes, welcome everybody in right now while we get things sorted out. Still a few kinks with our new setup, but it's good to test. You are seeing the testings of us men here with this whole thing. But yeah, good to see you in chat. By the way, we do, as you can see, we now can throw your chat up here. So like Julian, for example, I can't, but I know if Ref did, he's got stuff putting up, but we could talk about the expansion stuff that Julian's talking about. Boomer says Luke Layin for MVP. Michael, go Stallions, go Boats. Lauren, what's up, guys? Good to see you. Go Boats. UFL games on Friday nights are so genius. Yes, Julian, I agree. I think it's a great idea.
Hold on. I'm so close to being ready, Zach. So what are we talking about this week? What's the hubbub? I don't even know.
Well, yeah, we'll tease it before we hit off the top again. So yeah, we got the big old news and talking and kind of breaking down some things with the UFL HQ release and talking how that isn't just digging into it. It's not just a re-upping on Arlington. There's a few things that make it a bit special on what will make this better for the league in the long haul. Also, because we have to catch up on this stuff, we didn't get to talk about it in our last episode. It's been a minute. Going to talk about Alex Magoo. Going to talk about Luis Perez. Going to talk about a few other key signings. Honestly, I kind of want to talk about the Renegades because there's been a lot of good Renegades signings lately back on the offensive side. And also, as always, got to put something Houston in here because, it is the UFL podcast. So trust me, we're going to touch on a lot of stuff. And since this is a live version, once we kick off the top, you guys can shoot us your own questions and thoughts. We'll respond to you. And as I love to do on ATU, I get to put polls out. I love putting polls out. Bring a team to Tulsa. I agree, Boomer Sooner Isaac. I think that is a good market that might be interested. Anywhere in Oklahoma seems to be very popular with the XFL, with the UFL expansion crowd. Lauren Vander Esch, Let's Hunt. I agree, man. Good to see you on here. I know I see you on X from time to time. Let's Hunt, baby. Gonna have a great season.
So one thing I want to comment, now that we finally got the chat thing working on the screen, kudos to Riverside because they've done a couple things. One, I really like that it brings their profile picture in. Two, when you show one, so we'll just throw this up here. I don't have to do anything. It automatically stays up for 10 seconds and then auto hides.
I like it.
That is beautiful. That is wonderful.
Also, welcome, Michael, current regular of our programming. Thank you for joining. That is a nice touch, though.
Yeah.
That is nice. The little extra producer stuff. I love the bubble. But yeah. So yeah, let me I guess I'll reshare this here, but otherwise we're looking hunky-dory here.
Yeah, I think we're good. I updated all the social media stuff. I just updated the tweet on X, the X post on X. I got the Facebook one good to go. I think we're ready to roll. Well, whoever was here, they hopefully saw the intro. We'll have to. I'm curious how if the intro actually worked. I'm gonna go back actually, and I'm just. So what do we want to start? Well, say
kick off the top like it's a normal show. That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
and then I will lead in, and we'll dive on in.
Hey, good news! It started right with the intro. It worked. It did the trick. The intro was on this. I'm actually shocked, Zach. I just checked our video. So, you know what people should do then? They should be subscribing. That's a win, guys. That's such a win. Not only did we get the chat working, we got the intro working. And next time, Zach, you know what's going to happen next time? The video is going to go live on the right video. This is where we're heading. And so here's what I need you guys to do. Like the video. I always wait until the end of the video to say, like the video. Like the video. Click the bell. It builds morale. Subscribe. Do your mumbo jumbo. You know, that stuff. Before we get into the news, Zach, first, I feel like I'm stealing your hosting chair. And what I was trying to say was,
I'm trying to speak in TV. Re-rack it. So I can do my hosting duties.
All right. So what do you want me to do?
So folks, if you aren't in television, this is a good little lesson here in TV. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you play the intro again.
I see.
And then I'm going to start the show like we're recording it.
That's all you had to say, Zach. Re-rack it. If you would have just said re-rack it.
Re-rack it.
Dude, I would have been like so there if you would have just said re-rack it. Now, how do I re-rack it? Oh, here we go. All right. Racked.
1, 2, 3.
So racked right now.
Yeah. And welcome on in, everybody, to the UFL Podcast. I am Zach Heilman hosting this week and on, as always, for a show that, well, is going to be a little overstuffed because it's about overdue for our next edition. Got plenty to discuss this week as we edge just a bit closer to training camp and the 2025 UFL season. But before, of course, we jump on in and do all of the things that we will be doing on this amazing show live, by the way, difference. And thank you again to the folks that are tuning in and tuned in for what I would call the production meeting, as I will put it. Gotta give a shout out here to my man on the opposite side of the screen, the ref. He is here. Welcome on in, sir. How you doing, bud? We got a lot to discuss. Actually got some stuff today that I think pertains a little bit to you in your team. Not even just saying rough them up to say rough them up.
I mean, we're looking forward to a good season. Zach, we talked about this on the 7-year stream, which you were able to join me. I got the new camera. And look at this. We got new technology. We got all sorts of things. 7 years at Newsroom. Like I said, next stream we do, we got the intro settled. We got the whatever the other problem was. Oh, the chat. We got the chat settled. Third time this Monday for Around the A2. We're going to get this bad boy to work. We're so close.
Guys, I mean, you've been on a few of our test streams as of late. You can see that, like I said, if you haven't done a podcast before, you get a little comfortable with, I guess, your setup. And so we have been learning on the fly, but we're glad you're learning with us, I guess. And, for those audio listeners, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, trust me, it's okay. You still get that wonderful, crisp, glorious Rode mic audio that we enjoy so comfortably here with our studios. But yeah, diving on in here, it is episode 94 of the UFL podcast. We got a lot to discuss today in terms of the season ahead for signings, but I also think one that, originally I'll say I underreacted to, but I read a little bit more into this one, and I think we should talk about this a little bit more because for the UFL's sake, it's kind of cool. Like I read the PR a little bit more, and it's kind of cool. So, so listen here, Stefan. UFL HQ. We've already know it's in Arlington. We've known they've been based in Arlington. They took up, hosting duties from what the XFL had in 2023. They said, hey, got a great relationship with the city. Let's dive back in on them. Why not? So this past week, PR releases that UFL HQ is going to be in Arlington, and the original one, I will say, better watch when you say Stefan. Oh, here we go. We'll talk later, Bama 205. Anyhow, back to what we're talking. They launch and they say they're having an HQ in Arlington. Now, a lot of people like me, whatever. They've said this before. They've been at Choctaw. But difference is, they're going to be at a massive facility pretty much across the street from the stadium. I'm looking at the photos of it right now. And they're doing a lot of extra stuff in it that after reading PR, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And it kind of like puts a little more direction on stuff that they want to do that maybe streamlines the process of the business and also makes, I think, better for players to be more involved with like league accounts and league support. So, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, we're talking like new training rooms. We're talking a dedicated media center. We're talking, more of a focus on office buildings and like personnel that are in Arlington at like an actual headquarters, not like having some loosely jointed stuff. Like we're talking even equipment management. Like they will have an equipment center to streamline sending items to venues that they didn't have as much last year. So good infrastructural pieces that, I think it helps keep building blocks towards what we want to keep seeing and putting roots down.
Well, that's to me, and I've brought this up. This is usually my go-to answer for a lot of these types of things. It brings legitimacy to the league, right? Having their central headquarters, not only just as a headquarters to deal with business, but now that you have weight rooms and training rooms, and you're probably going to bring some of the social media people and some of the marketing people, and having a central place where all of these people can workshop in one area to hopefully keep this thing going, right? So we've seen it time and time again. You get one season under your belt if you're lucky. You get 2 seasons under your belt if you're really lucky. Yeah. But the one thing that has eluded us since the 80s has been that season 3, right? And so when I see Fox or the UFL or really whoever's pushing this initiative going forward and building out a large headquarters, it feels to me like they're just really preparing for a season 3, right? It would seem strange if they were, on the line about, well, aren't we going to continue with this project? Why would they put all the effort into this? Now, this is not to say that this is confirmation that we are going to get a season 3, but it feels like this is something to it. Now, I will comment on this because I know Bama Boy and the rest are going to wonder, well, why move it from Birmingham? Now, I'm not saying that's a good idea or a bad idea, but from a business perspective, I can understand why, and it comes down to taxes, right? And so Texas is notoriously one of these places where they're offering cheaper tax rates to businesses. I don't know if that's the case in this situation, but I would wager that that's probably the case in this, that one, it was either more affordable, right? So Choctaw, maybe they had this office space laying around, maybe it's on the discount. And then you add in the tax breaks and things like that. Again, this is just me making assumptions here. I love Texas. I love Birmingham. Whether if they were in either spots, I would be just as happy. Now, unless here's the one thing. If the UFL really wants to go above and beyond, they're going to have some swangers on some of those cars in that parking lot. I'm just saying it might be a Houston thing, but it's a Texas thing.
You're pushing
too.
a Houston thing into Dallas. That's what you're trying to do there.
Sooner or later, we're going to take over Dallas. I don't know who Dallas thinks they are. They get all the good concerts. They get all the good events. Houston is the 4th largest city in the country. And Dallas got Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney, hey, I don't know if you know this, Houston's bigger and better than Dallas. He didn't get the memo. He didn't care.
Yeah, well, you can talk to him about that if you want. Go up to Dallas, take a few hour trip up there and ask questions if you like. I think this is one thing I love with the live show. So first off, Boomer here, if you can throw up his comment on Birmingham doesn't care about the Stallions, why would they go back to Birmingham? And I live in Alabama. So first off, I want to just to defend the Stallions. You do realize we're talking about a team. Arlington had even worse support. So first off, I think that doesn't even make any sense to bring up the support angle, because Arlington, to me, if we're talking support fan base wise, there are diehard fans there, but they got to work on selling tickets. Let's be freaking honest with you. That was a market that needed some help. So I'm going to pause that. Second off, and you put it up with Ducky's comment, I think it makes more sense, is again, Texas being cheaper, and I saw you put Christopher's up as well, but the airfare, and I've said this before, and I've told you this many times. Birmingham's airport, I've had very mixed bag experiences with going to Birmingham, and it's a small airport. Like, there is a massive gap between Birmingham International and Dallas. Dallas International is huge. It's one of the biggest airports in the country. So the logistics make a ton of sense, especially if you're moving equipment, you're moving players, you're moving personnel. I get it. That's the deal. Money and that transport plus, this is equal for Birmingham and Arlington. But I think, you get with who you know, you have a good partner, you reward that partner. Again, it's a give and take back and forth. The city gives you some bonuses and a little more leeway on things, and it maybe gives you some better ways of getting in and operating your business. And you help the city of Arlington by being there and being present. Maybe you employ more folks from that area. Maybe you help with the more local economy and exposure in that area. So that, to me, is definitely, you get with who you know, you reward partnerships and people that you know. That's a business thing. So that's part of why this is just being reiterated. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to go with this angle. I see a little WWE in this move. And let me put a great comp in here. When I looked up this building and I started looking at the PR and releases on this building and just thinking about, I know Dwayne Johnson's a minority owner. I understand that. But they're making a content center. They're making training facilities at this place. They're making office buildings. This is Titan Towers of the UFL. This is exactly what they're doing. They are making their Titan Towers in Arlington, Texas. Yes, it doesn't have the flags or the logo on it, or it's not a big glass building. But you look at this building, it's right next door to their facilities. It's operating the way they want it to. They are renting this whole space out. This is their Titan Towers. So, I see a little bit of the WWE business model aspect of we're going to put our stuff in one location. We travel around a little bit. Yes, it's different than wrestling. You're not doing night by night, but this is our operations center. We have all this stuff here. We have all these resources for you to help us then move stuff out to where it needs to go. This is Titan Towers of the UFL. I'm locking that one in.
I like that. No, that's actually a really good comparison, because I think you hit everything on the nose, right? It's their central operations for everything in one building. where I mean, you know, we've seen this. Well, I've seen it a little bit where I work. I'm sure you see it where you work too. Is like you can pump out a lot of things when there's a lot of people working on different things in one building, right?
Yeah.
So no, I think, I mean, at the end of the day, if it adds the legitimacy, if it saves them money and it helps them be more productive, sign them up. So I'm very excited to see the fruits of their labor. Now, considering they have this, I would love to see things like pregame shows, halftime shows, things like that. I mean, if you have a whole studio, why not? Right. And so,
Yeah.
not that we're going to see that this year, but you make it to a season 3, you get to a season 4, season 5. Well, yeah, I imagine that every year they're going to be adding more initiatives and hopefully hiring more people to build out the product, right? And so,
of course.
And we're just talking about it from a production side. I mean, from a player's perspective, this is pretty awesome too, right? Because we talked about the training rooms and all, like, there's no, the thing with this is there's no team that has a better facility than the other now.
No.
I mean, it was probably similar last year too, but we've seen it in the past with the USFL, even the XFL. There are some that were, you know, training in NFL facilities. Some were training in high school facilities, right? And so maybe that's not going to have a huge impact on your play, but sometimes when that game comes down to 1 point, hey, you know what? Maybe it would have had an impact. Maybe, right? And so
maybe
brings
so.
a little bit of maybe consistency to it. We'll see.
Yeah. I think to kind of get some other stuff I want to list off. So again, you got office spaces, performance center, weight rooms. The content studio is a big one to me because I think, like, you know, you want creatives. You know, I'm more involved with the space now than ever. You and I both have been, but now even, you know, side stuff I'm doing outside of this show, you know, it's going to be really based on, you know, having assets that you can use right and available. You know, we're talking camera equipment, mic equipment, you know, any and everything in between, computers, editing bays, like stuff like that's going to be huge. Also real quick, Bama, I'm sorry. It's based on the connection coming from my place. Can't do much about it with that camera. But anyway, you know, that is all fantastic. But like I point out the warehouse. So like, you know, I guess it was a little more, I wouldn't say impromptu, but like we've heard from people in the past that, you know, you talk enough, and you get enough people on even Discord or on the community servers that have worked equipment is actually a very underrated and I think focused on subject with these sports properties. You don't realize how much goes into the logistics of moving around gear, moving around helmets or pads or any necessary medical equipment. You know, you got to wash this stuff, you got to set this stuff up, you got to move pieces for the actual football playing surface if you own it out to these places. Some stuff you can keep at stadiums, of course, but you know, it's not everything. You know, you're going to more often than not have to take stuff back. So I think that having a dedicated space, you know, or reallocating how stuff is used, which you're still having access to Choctaw Stadium. My guess is that the warehouse is probably more focused on the stadium, less on the office building. That's a big deal. So like they reorganized and focused up more on, I think, streamlining their business and kind of having a more focused hub, which is cool. Like I'll be, again, I reiterate, I kind of breezed over this PR when it came out. I was like, whatever, it's Arlington. They've already been here at Arlington, but like it kind of shows they've thought this out on how to improve the business in a second year to make it better. And I really love what they did, like as a business. I love what they did for this.
Yeah. No, I love to see these things happening. It shows that the Fox and the people behind this league actually care about this league, and you know what? It's going to continue because the thing, since we've been covering this, Zach, and we've been covering it 7 years now, we've never seen a season 3. I mean, technically, kind of, if you want to count the USFL conference, which I saw you got. I'm on your side, by the way, Zach, when it comes to you and the discussion with Arlington A-Train. Arlington Lane from the X-Fan Show, by the way, check him out. He was trying to argue that the Stallions are not a three-peat champion, and me, being one of the biggest Stallions fans, agree with you, Zach, in your argument that the Stallions are a three-peat champion at minimum. At minimum, they're a three-peat USFL champion.
Here's my crux, and the way I look at it is that look, the UFL owns the history of these leagues, so I'm going to say that they have it. It's quite frankly, I think there's three-peat. I defend that with little bit of even diehard feelings towards that because those are good football teams, all three of them. So yeah, I'm not going to back off that comment whatsoever. But Arlington, appreciated the banter back and forth, by the way, if you do watch this episode, because that was fun. I had a good time with that.
So real quick, I have to address this. Bama boy is asking me, Bama 205, if I believe in Nolan Henderson. I mean, of course I do. 12-0, baby. I mean, if we are going to see amazing things out of the Roughnecks this year, Zach, and you're going to be there for the first game. Just think of how exciting that is just for you. This is an experience you're going to carry over for the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's going to be wonderful.
The first win of 12 in a row. This is history, Zach. History. Anyway,
history
back to
in the making.
Back to the topic. I see comments and I'm like, so actually real quick, Matt, before we get back. So you can't see the chat. Is that right?
I can see chat. I'm looking right at it. Can
you promote people's stuff in here?
I do not have access to push it on the screen.
So like if you hover over their chat, it doesn't give you like a show on screen?
No.
Bugger.
Yeah, okay. I think it's just an editor thing.
We'll look at that.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk. But no, I'm obviously following the chat. So I mean, I can see everything. I'm watching it. I got the YouTube one up here too. But yeah, that's good. It's good. Anyway, let's move on here. So yeah, UFL HQ, great stuff there. Love it. Now let's talk what we've been meaning to catch up. A lot of signings, a lot of bigger name signings. We will talk as much, guys, and in the chat especially. This is what's great with a live show. If you have any player you want us to bigger name you want us to discuss or whatever, we don't mind. It's not gonna be forever. We have ones in mind. We are gonna circle to some of the bigger names, but don't be afraid to mention if you want us to discuss one or your thoughts. Like I know you just asked about, we just had someone ask about Nolan Henderson. I don't mind about that. I think it's part of what our overall discussion is because we had a bigger name, I think, moved to different pastures recently, which actually, screw it. I'll just lean into that because it's most recent. Jared Guarantano's going to the San Antonio Brahmas. And to be fair, Kellen Mond's over there in San Antonio, but, kind of feels like a little bit of a loss to a QB room that I think a lot of people are still questioning outside you, is what I'm reading the room as.
You say a loss, but I say, who is it a loss to? Is it a loss to us or is it a loss to him who's he's ultimately leaving the future championship team? I mean, how would you feel if knowing that there is a team made for destiny and you're going to the other team in Texas who's gonna lose? I mean, the Roughnecks 12-0, rough up. I am sad to see him go, though. The unfortunate part, just to bring it back to reality a little bit, is he never got his true fair shake last year with the Roughnecks, right? He came in and there were some promising plays, and right as he was getting into the mix of it, he got injured. Yeah. He was out for a couple weeks, and I mean, even coming back from an injury, you're coming back from an injury on a short season. So I actually am sad to see him go. Am I worried? No, I don't put words in my mouth, Zach. I would never be worried about the Roughnecks and how they're about to do this season. But I mean, it's a good pickup for the Brahmas, if you ask me, quite frankly. I think the Brahmas had, we may not have seen a lot of it in the championship last year, but I think they did pretty well on defense last year. And, from a coordinator standpoint, they have all the cool technology in San Antonio to where, I'm curious to see how it works out for them, right?
Yeah, no, I'm curious as well. Again, I think a lot of people, I do see one of the comments from Mr. Smith here, Brahma's QB room is questionable, which, hey, to be fair, we do have to see how right now your QB room is Kellen Mond, Kevin Hogan, and now Jared Guarantano. So, Guarantano, as you brought up, there is that potential last year, just didn't have as much time on the field. And you can question, whether CJ was and his crew were, I think, leading offensively in the right direction. But, at least he gets to go over and be in San Antonio, who, there's a bit of a track record there with setting up and getting some good offensive minds there. I'm curious to see how that battle plays out because Hogan's has been the longest of experience. Mond's been looking to get an opportunity. Guarantano's the UFL guy more so. So fascinating to see how that plays out. I think people want to see Mond play, but that's going to be the thing is, will will AJ's offense work the best with who? You know, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So I'm fascinated to see how that goes. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, for that sake, like, I don't know, like clearly they're leaning into Jalen McClendon over there in Houston. I think that's who they want. I'm high on him personally. Now, if you go into our Discord, which by the way, PFN Discord, check that link in the description after we're done watching, or now, by the way, you can do that too. I'm high on him. I know that he's been around the block, but I still lean on his performances with the Vipers back in the XFL 2 years ago to where I think he could get his actual legit shot to line up. I mean, keep in mind, dude was playing behind Jordan Ta'amu. It was going to be hard to break through with that. Like Ta'amu's just got that rep behind him no matter what. So I'm kind of bullish on him. I'm not saying I'm bullish on the Roughnecks. I'm bullish on him having a decent season though, and people aren't expecting it.
Well, I'll tell you what you're not expecting. It's what you already know. 12-0. That's all. That's all I got to say. That's all I know. 12-0.
It wouldn't be a show without 12-0. I was waiting for the quota. If you didn't meet quota, I would have to report you to the office.
Here's the truth of it, Zach. You could put me on the field as quarterback for the Roughnecks. We're winning that game. It is destiny. Destiny. You're gonna see it firsthand,
dude. Wait a minute. You can't be ref and QB.
Watch me. Who is it? Was it Expert said something about Jimmy Buffett being dead? Not in this house. You know that firsthand, Zach. Not
Jimmy
in this
Buffett.
house.
Jimmy Buffett lives in spirit, man. Dude, changes in attitude, changes in latitude. I play that stuff on regular.
Dude, you'll know when I hit it big with Bitcoin, when I just start wearing like those button up like Hawaiian shirts. You'll know.
There will be signs.
Yeah.
You say.
What do you mean you got a Cybertruck that's painted with tropical birds?
Actually, that would be my side. Like, you finally got that Cybertruck. Wait, how'd you get that Cybertruck?
Yeah. People are still shocked that I want a Cybertruck. I'm like, I'm shocked that you wouldn't. It's the coolest thing ever.
It's because you want to put swangers on it when you go down to TDC
Big
this
ones
year.
too. Big ones.
So someone's already thought that up, I bet. There's no way that hasn't been done.
No, somebody posted, I think it's Paul Wall has one because he's a Houston boy.
Nice.
And so I need to go become friends. You know, Paul Wall played a concert like not too far from my house not too long ago.
Oh, no kidding.
I was about to go up there and be like, show me this Cybertruck you got, buddy. I need to see it.
I love it. I freaking love it.
Little known fact, Zach, years and years and years ago, I played a show with Paul Wall.
Did you?
Years and years and years ago. I don't know. He might remember me, but it wouldn't be for great reasons. And that's about all we'll leave it at. Anyway, good old
That's
day.
a story for another day. Off season, off topic coming later this year.
Exactly.
Stay tuned.
Exactly. We got all sorts of goodies.
The Paul Wall episode you will not want to miss. Speaking
His
of
teeth were shining like a disco ball. Anyway, but what signings do we got?
Cycling back. This is the bigger I think meat and potatoes signings I really wanted to hit because they're two that stand out the most. People have talked about this for the last week and a half now between them coming out. Alex Magoo returns to the Stallions, and also to add on, Luis Perez re-signs to the Renegades. Let's go to the Magoo conversation first. I don't want to mash them together because they both deserve their time. So let's do this. Alex Magoo returns. Now, so here's the thing. You and I think many of us do in this community, we always hypothesize maybe guys go to their next green pasture and maybe it doesn't work out and you go, damn, that sucks. I wonder if he'll come back. Yeah. And Magoo remember, set the scene. It's 2023. Magoo goes out, has one of the best spring football seasons as a quarterback I've seen in my lifetime. Not saying the best ever, because if I did that, I'd have people going, Jim Kelly, Steve Young. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. So we're not going to do that. But one of the best I've watched since I've been following this. And he lands in Green Bay and tries to make it as a quarterback, then switches to receiver, jumps around, is cut earlier this past year. No one's been talking about him, but a lot of us think he's not going to be back at the scene. He's trying to be a receiver now. And this drops like a hammer. And I'm kind of blown away because I thought he was done trying to go back to spring football, and I thought he was going to recommit to the receiver discussion to do the NFL angle.
Yeah.
And now, not to mention it, and we'll keep talking about this, and I know some of these BM fans in our chat want to know, Matt Corral was already signed on. You have created the ultimate QB controversy.
I know. Well, I'm actually curious because we have, Bama Boy, this is the one. Who do you think is going to start this game? Because this is,
that will be the poll. Is I'm going to put up who our great thing with live shows. Who is going to win this job, Magoo or Corral? Which, by the way, reconfirming, Magoo is going to be trying for quarterback. We have had multiple people on team, on sources that have said this is a QB signing. Even if the league PR put receiver, they probably did it because that was the last position he played professionally. He's a QB. So this is a competition right now. But I'm going to ask you guys while we're doing this. But yeah, who wins this? That's the thing. Corral didn't win the job last year. He split time, but he was heir apparent. Adrian Martinez left for the NFL. He's got a pretty solid spot right now with the Jets, barring any signings or things right now. Where like he was supposed to be heir apparent this year.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I agree with Michael here. I think Magoo will get the starting role, but what we saw last year is that Skip, whether you like it or not, Zach, was not afraid of a dual quarterback setup.
Oh, trust me. I know, I guarantee it's going to happen if he's not like fully sold in training camp. It's going to happen.
I think we will see Magoo start that first game at minimum, just as his welcome back play, right? I could see him mixing up the quarterback similar to what he did last year, just to see who he's really more comfortable with going into the playoffs. But if you're a fan of any other team in the league, it is hard to not see what the Stallions are doing again, and just building a team that is unstoppable. They again, if they can get past Houston, they can get past anybody, Zach.
They can. I want to laugh at that, but you're not wrong, given the fact that that is the only team that seems to consistently, in whether it's, and it's the same iteration with the same staff as the last time with the Gamblers. It's the only team that seems to get wins on a regular basis. Now the Brahmas, but the Brahmas basically pulled a Buffalo Bills and didn't show up when it mattered. So, that's the thing. Like, we remember summer stock when I said with my prediction, you can get a win on Skip. Doesn't mean you're going to win twice.
Yeah.
He never loses twice in a row to the same opponent.
Yeah.
He always learns. But this is definitely, that dropped like a hammer. I've been waiting to discuss on a show. We just had to line it up. It's been busy for us, but like, my God, man, like Matt Corral, like, here's my thing. How do you feel as Matt Corral? Like, I will say he's probably going to play it professionally because that's how Skip Holtz runs his team, where he says, look, like Alex Magoo knows this too. Like, he's the same guy that lost his job to Jamar Smith in 2022 due to injury and basically had to take a professional team role and go, hey, I'm going to be the professional guy here, but I know I want more. Corral basically did that last year. It's like, hey, I'll sit back. I'll let Adrian do his thing. I'll step in and be a hero when I need to, like he did against my Panthers. But like, that's the thing. Do you do it again? Like Corral, I feel like Corral's a guy that wants to be the starter bad, but like, how do you leverage that in a league where it's not like you're looking to get, like, you're not getting extra money going out anywhere else. You're getting the same rate, and you have to hope to God that a smaller pool of teams wants you.
Right.
Like I threw out the hypothetical that he goes to Houston, but like, that's the thing. Like, why would you trade to someone in your division or your conference? And B, like, do
you want to start that conversation about in-division shenanigans? Because you saw, I don't want to stray us away from the Stallions here, but I'm still mad at Bears.
Coaching signings are different, pal. Let's pump the brakes here a second. That's a free agency choice. We didn't trade for the guy.
I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Let's talk about this because this is a whole separate thing for the end of the damn show. Anyway, go on. You just you hit a nerve. You hit a nerve.
I'm not trading for the guy. That's all I'm saying. Look, I think what logically will happen, because the hypotheticals of like seeing these trades where like we as fans hope to God they send someone because now the one piece is locked up and you want to see like an equal like beginning to like make the competition that way. It's not going to happen. Like I am spitballing this, but reality is that you're going to see these two stay on the same team probably. And Skip knows this too, because Skip's seen it. Oh, well, I had a QB go down. Well, yeah, I'm going to do next man up. Oh, well, this QB, maybe he's having a bit of a rough patch, even though he's the guy I've been leaning on. I'm going to throw in someone that's a curveball and, I mean, Alex Magoo won a championship like this, for God's sake. He was essentially the relief pitch man and won the first USFL championship by doing this. So you're playing right into that. My thing is, can corral his emotions in to be that guy again. He did it last year. That's why I'm bringing this hypothetical. Also, I saw you, Bama boy. That's okay. We'll see how that we'll see if that changes this year. I like my odds, even though some people in the Discord don't agree. I like my odds. Just gonna lay it out there. It's time to hunt. I'm gonna hunt for horse this year.
See, that's what's great about the off season. Everybody can still like their odds.
That's the beauty. It's the beauty of off season. It's the most opportunistic time of the year. Everyone looks like a winner if you look close enough with rose tinted goggles.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm the only one with a basis in reality when I look at the future season. I mean, I don't understand how everybody can't see the Roughnecks.
You're the freaking point of reality.
I mean, of course, 12-0. Wait till it happens. People are going to write books about this, Zach. People are, it might be me.
Tomes will be laced around the former empire of days of yore, where the mighty Roughneck said, "Drill, baby, drill," as he drilled in and found the wondrous UFL championship he so long craved.
It's going to feel so good.
Greek poetry emotion. Zach,
even if we win at 11-1, I'm going to be angry. 12-0 or nothing. I'd rather win no games than win some games. Ugh.
Well, hey, maybe you're right. So we have one thing that this next one, as we talked, we got Perez on the other end. Perez doesn't have to deal with this as much. Now, I think if a certain Mr. Baker was in the chat, he would have a different opinion, or maybe a little bit more on a guy he wants to see. But let's be honest here. Luis Perez signs back. And I'll be frank, a lot of us were a little unsure. Perez is on the older side. He's been through the ringer. Not saying his window for NFL is closing, but, you wonder. It comes to the point we've seen in spring football where you start getting to like your late 20s and early 30s, and you start asking, do I retire and move on to my next chapter in my life here? Or do I give it one more crack at, playing football essentially at this point? Mm-hmm. And I think he's got that. It looks like he's got that spark still. And honestly, James put it best in his news release on this. Man led the statistics last year in passing everywhere. He's at the top of his game, the best we have seen him at this level. So unless the slump just completely drops this season, I mean, he's going to go out and play. Question is, can the Renegades finally address the protection problems that have been plaguing him, whether he won an XFL championship or not? They have not seemed to have found ways to keep him protected as consistently as they need to.
No, but like you said, his heart's still in it. It seems like he's ready to go out there. He's still up there in the stats. I mean, why would you stop? Sometimes you look at a team's record and it's not necessarily indicative of all the players. I know this firsthand as a Lions fan, Zach. I mean, going to the past, there was times where Matt Stafford was like an elite quarterback. Mm-hmm. Did that result in any playoff wins? Absolutely not, right? Now, looking at something like spring football, if I'm Coach Stoops, I'm trying to keep this guy on my team. And, he did win a championship with them. It feels like forever ago, but it was only 2 years ago, right? And so with
long.
spring football, as you can see, you can go from being the best team to going the worst team and vice versa. You can go from being the worst to the first with what we saw with the Maulers.
We
saw it with the Maulers in the USFL. And so, I wouldn't count out the Renegades just yet. I mean, if they did make it to the championship, can they beat Houston? No, absolutely not. There's no chance in hell. We already saw what happened. We already saw what happens.
Yeah, you didn't. That is funny though, because the Texas throwdown last year was
that was my favorite game of the year.
Didn't exactly go the way that we all thought it would, but
it went exactly how I thought it would.
Of course, it went the way you thought it would.
Rough win, man. Best game of the season last year.
Yeah, but I mean, so like, here's the thing: Perez comes back, and it basically allows Arlington to kind of breathe. I think if you're a fan, because like, look, I know that we have buddies that really like Holton Allers, and I think that he should, hopefully get some reps. I know Luke Lannon has gotten a lot of, I think, press for some of his accolades. They brought him in as well. But I mean, Perez, that's like the bona fide start guy. Mm-hmm. You need that. And I'll be frank, I've been following up and trying to be like, hey, let's see how how has Arlington been doing with getting some of these key guys back? And, they've kind of been doing a good job re-upping on keeping their top offensive guys. They got Deontay Burnett back, and I think he had a year that he wishes he was a little bit better because he can clearly show out. Tyler Vaughn's their leading passer came back this year. They've signed him back on. And they also got, as well, a few other pieces that I think offensively, at least they can show out. They need to fix their run game still. That was something that was not very, very good. It was near dreadful last year, but like, they do have the receiving options. They've always had them. They've had the passing options. Can they protect their quarterback, which they've been investing a few linemen this season or in this offseason? And can they find a way to generate a little bit more on the ground? Defense is another whole thing. And it's weird that Bob Stoops has been struggling in that department, but overall, can you find some way to be a little more consistent? Because they can be explosive. We saw they can be explosive. But they always seem to find a way where they would stumble at some point in the game on that side of the ball and put themselves behind the 8 ball just a tad.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and again, that's the beauty of spring football. What we saw last year could be completely different than what we see, coming up this year, which was completely different than what we saw 2 years ago. Granted, they won the championship. They didn't have the best record, but we saw that with the USFL too, with both the Maulers and the Panthers getting in with a losing record, right? So, I mean, it happens. This is the beauty of spring football. I love it, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I love, you know what? I might not be a Renegades fan, but I do love the King of Spring. I love Luis Perez. I mean, I was there for the Mega Bowl in the Spring League.
Yes.
He was playing there. I mean, I feel like I've watched this guy throughout his career.
Jouster's legend.
Dude, getting signed up. And I you know what? Don't hold us to it, but I think I checked with James earlier. He says it's basically confirmed. But if all things go well, we should be having a little conversation with Louise this Monday on Around the UFL. We're not only going to be talking to a spring football legend, we're going to be talking to a bowling legend, Zach.
Yes.
I want to say it's 7 perfect games. It could be more. Let me see this. Luis Perez, perfect games. Let's see. But one of the things that I actually enjoyed about the USFL is sometimes the lead-in was those bowling tournaments. They were for 12 perfect games. Zach, I knew it was more.
They still
12.
got, I say, PBA still going strong. If you want me to tout the Foxhorn, they've actually increased their ratings going to Fox from ESPN. So good for them. Luis has got a bright future ahead in PBA circuit if he wants to as well. Good pickup, good signing to get back. I see Bama 05. Stop hyping Arlington. I still have a lot of questions about Arlington that I can't fully get on board with that team, but I got to hype up the best parts. I mean, Luis has been, a lot of people started throwing around the term King of Spring since his signing. And I mean, if we're talking a guy that like King of Spring in terms of like dude that's been through everything and has gone through all the big outdoor circuits, like, yeah, like we should definitely recognize that. Like he has made his name as a spring football legend in that regard, whether it's the Guardians back in the original XFL, whether it's with the Arlington Renegades winning in 2023. You know, he was really good with the Generals up until he basically got stonewalled by the Stars. And, you know, he's made his impact everywhere. So,
yeah,
you know, got to bring that up.
I'm curious, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on the screen.
I'm glad you brought it up.
There wasn't a good point because I saw it come through, but we were talking about other stuff.
No.
I'm just going to put it in now.
This is the glories of a live show. I'm glad you brought this up, but I'll let you read the question off. So
yeah, let me just put it up back on screen again. So how do we feel about the NFL taking everything from the UFL and not giving any recognition? I would say, I don't know if they're not giving any recognition. The one good thing about watching the NFL on Fox, at least, they do a good job of shoving in UFL references. Now,
yes, they do.
I might just be a Lions fan, so I might see more of it than maybe some other games, admittedly, because I know with Jake Bates out there, anytime he's out there or getting ready to come out there or go back out there, they're like, hey, did you know he played in the UFL last year? I did, actually, Fox. So I'll give him credit there. Now, again, just to be fair, that could be more of a Fox thing than an NFL thing. Right.
Yes. I do think it's more of a Fox thing, but I will put my 2 cents. And I believe that the networks, and at least I think whoever is covering the sport is getting more used to seeing players come from these leagues and do well. And I think that's what's changing it. Like I know NBC as well, like a few Sunday Night Football games, they didn't bring up some players, but I noticed this year they got better as the season went on at like addressing, hey, this is a spring football player. Like that is to me what is a sign that you are starting to have people take notice a little bit more is when people in that professional space, like, yes, the NFL, I get it. The NFL's here. We're just trying to exist down here and, you know, kind of get what is in between to make things where we can watch football and this business can thrive in between there. You know, we're getting to that point. But I think it's helpful when you have it that you can acknowledge on national TV and that you have these people and personalities acknowledging on national TV that, yeah, these stars come from a different league and that they recognize that this league is out there right now. And that's good. You know, you want that name circling around. You want the UFL circling around in media circles or on broadcast. So I know that they don't do it with the rules. I honestly, I wouldn't expect the NFL to do it. The NFL has been like, if you look at the NFL's history in terms of like adopting rules, like we can go all the way back to the USFL in the 80s, for God's sake. The 2-point conversion, anyone want to ring that bell? Like they don't acknowledge where they get these rules. Like
Skycam with the XFL.
Skycam. I mean, the way this works, if you notice, like all they do is they just go in, an owner sees a rule they like or like something like that, they propose it as their own or they propose it as something similar, you know, and they throw it in. Now fans will acknowledge it. Like we've seen with, you know, with like the Sky Judge, like there's been more replay assist NFL's been adding. It's not exactly 1-to-1 with the Sky Judge, but it's getting there. They are trying to implement slowly those elements of, hey, New York calls out something to a ref, makes them change it real quick if it's blatant and obvious. You know, we're talking about the kickoff rule of the XFL. Yeah, that people have recognized that, but like no one in a meeting is going to just like give, like, we're not going to like, that's a ideal world. You give credit and you like go, yes, we credit this, but no, they're not going to do that in a PR. Like they thought that they see it, it's influence. They bring it in. Analysts will bring it up maybe, but again, the NFL, like we're talking two fully different circles. Like our circle is still niche. It's not as niche as like say me talking arena football to you folks.
Right.
But it's still niche. Like it's not fully mainstream yet. We got to keep chugging along and putting seasons down, but we're getting there. We're moving the needle more. So yeah, all they're doing is stealing. I don't like, well, that's how this, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's kind of how this stuff works. I mean,
if we go at it like that route, then somebody could or probably would make the argument, well, the UFL stole all of the rest of the rules from the NFL then. I mean, how does a touchdown work? You know, they didn't create that.
The basis
I'm
of
just playing
football
devil's
stuff.
advocate here because I actually do know what you're saying, Bama.
And then you can like, if you want to like be really silly with this game, like go all the way back in the day. Well, the NFL stole from college football. Like we can just get like really ridiculous.
And then somewhere a Canadian would say, well, actually, you know,
yeah, and then Canadian football comes in, and then it just becomes a mess. And then you're like, is that a Dayton Flyers jersey? me with like my Muncie jersey, because fun fact, Muncie, Indiana did have an NFL team for a few years. Just had to put that in there. But it's sports like this, like football, it's kind of copycat, like especially with the lower ones. Like the NFL doesn't have to do anything. The best comparison I have from just like, I follow up on the auto industry a lot. I like reading up on cars and all that. The NFL is the Toyota of football. They are a very well-run and highly regarded company. They are the top company in the biz. Toyota sells the most cars in the world. The NFL is the top tier of football, and it makes the most money and revenue for any football league in the world. And they don't have to innovate as much to stay ahead. They are the gold standard. You expect this to be the gold standard of football. The UFL and leagues like the UFL, they kind of have to do extra stuff to get noticed. Like that is the whole bread and butter. That's why you see like rule changes like we've seen in multiple iterations of the sport throughout the years when it comes to like spring football, dating back to like the 80s and the 70s with even the WFL. Like we can go all the way back there. It's always been about how do we differentiate from the gold standard that is the NFL. The NFL doesn't got to do much. They can lean and look at these guys, pick what they feel is right, experiment, and throw out stuff as they need. That's what the beauty for them. They're the top dog. They don't have to do anything, and there's really no one threatening them. Not even more so now than it was 40 years ago. This ain't USFL freaking out the NFL execs. This is the NFL going, oh cool, this little secondary thing that our coaches really like because it gives players more film. That's neat. They're doing some neat stuff. Let's talk friendly with them. Yeah, that's it. That's all this is.
There, and I'll at least say that much too. Yeah, there's definitely a different attitude between these leagues than there have been in the past. When you brought up the USFL of the 80s in the NFL, even the XFL original in 2000s was going like trying to come up against the NFL, whereas now, not to say that the UFL is trying to be a feeder league, but they're open to the idea. And as we've seen, they're open to experimenting on that. Now, there's some things that we've seen that just haven't come into fruition. One of the things being at that second USFL championship during the media day, we saw Moose Johnston talking about trying to work with some of these teams to where players' rights would go to that team, but if they would revert and having some kind of play to where they could maybe come to the USFL, but once they were done with the USFL, they would be reverted back to, let's say, the Eagles or the Chiefs or the Lions or whoever it might be, to maybe give the incentive for these teams to say, okay, well, I'm not going to necessarily cut them loose, but I'm going to let them go, get some more reps under their belt. And you know what? Once they've played there, they're my player again, right? We never saw that maybe come to fruition, but I'd be surprised if those conversations didn't stop. And that's just one example of how we're seeing spring football leagues, maybe not the UFL exclusively, but we saw it with the XFL trying to do their partnership with the whatever they had going on. It wasn't the NFL, but it was something with the NFL. We see the UFL. Clearly, they have a good relationship with the Cowboys because it seems like every year the Cowboys are that team to make that first signing, right? And so
Jerry loves his spring football.
Yep. And I assume that's because of Moose Johnston and his tight-knit relationship with the Cowboys, you know?
Probably. I haven't even given that as much thought as I should, but that's honestly a really great way of putting it because I mean, Daryl still has a lot of high praise for Dallas. Like that's, kind of helps when you're, to many a legendary fullback that comes from that team that was on a dynasty stretch. Like, maybe plays a little bit into it. Just saying.
Oh, it's gotta at least a little bit.
Just tad.
I'll say this just because I saw the results of the poll are up. Majority 66% believe Alex Magoo will be the starter this year for Birmingham. So
we will find out. I think the only question people had about it is he rusty? Yeah. I would say that if he was really serious about coming on back, and that if these guys feel like he can come in and play, that I think they wouldn't have. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't have done this signing because, like, you know, I'm not saying he's not doing these things on the side, but to me, that signifies that I think they think he'll be fine. You know, keep in mind too, his legs are just as deadly. Like, if he needs a little extra time to get the arm going, like, we know he has the cannon and the accuracy to be deadly everywhere on the field, but those legs are just as bad. And I think that's part of what I also think that's part of why they want this is like Corral can run, but he ain't no Adrian Martinez or Alex Magoo running in the open field. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. He can get out there and scramble, but like we saw what Martinez did last year. We saw what Magoo does. And Magoo is basically, to me, a better version of Adrian Martinez, which is saying something about Adrian Martinez of all things too. So yeah, I mean, I'm in that boat. I would put the vote in too. So definitely picking Magoo, but we'll find out. Find out. Yep. Speaking of the person that helped facilitate this, because Zach Potter's not here anymore. You know, they've been trying to figure out, hey, who's running the show on the GM position. So we finally get that this recently too, and I wanted to bring that up because, you know, big deal, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And so they picked up Paul Roel. He's the new GM for the Stallions. Former college scout in the USFL is the big tie, but unlike Zach Potter, Stefan, a lot of NFL experience. That's what the difference is. They're going with a little bit more veteran guy, but someone that has past history, especially with the team, especially with the league that the team used to more be in. A lot of connections there, of course.
I mean, it is funny. You bring up the experience thing. They're going almost the complete opposite route as they did with Zach Potter. I understand. I mean, it feels like you can't strike, lightning can't strike twice. Right. Zach Potter was an anomaly in that he was so young and was helped assist, not build one championship team, not two, but three in a row. Right.
It's a lot of pressure for whoever's coming in. That's all I can say.
Right.
You know,
so I can understand Holtz looking at this and saying, look, I can get another young guy, but what are the chances? What are the chances that is happening again? Now, it could happen. There are guys out there. Clearly, it's happened. But then you look at Roel, who's coming in 30 years of experience, right, Zach? I mean, 30 years of on-the-ground experience. Also, like you mentioned, spring league experience, doing some scouting for the USFL, trying to get some of those guys from college into their pipeline. I mean, if I'm Skip Holtz, that's exactly what I'm looking for. He was doing it on a league level for the USFL, and now he's doing it just for his team.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're already seeing the Stallions didn't lose any steam from last year coming into this year. We just talked about the big pickup, Alex Magoo coming back to their team. I mean, if you have a situation where your quarterback room is stacked and you're having to figure out we're here just because of who's going to be their starter, I don't think that's a conversation we're having anywhere else in the league, at least in such of a positive outlook, right? You know,
it seems like a win-win there. I mean, if you want to even talk about like, you know, keeping going, you know, keeping steady. I mean, just even yesterday we got today, Jaron Jones getting picked up, which is a huge name for one of the tackles coming in here as well. Like not nonstop. Then that's just more of a spring name. But like that being said, the playbook is clearly here for what has been the Stallions' bread and butter. You have someone that not only has their head to the ground in the scouting department for these younger college guys looking for their next step up that we've been seeing, they have ties and they're here to play. They're going to the NFL coffers as well and going, okay, let's look for these dudes that have experience that are just needing the film, and we're going to get some dogs from there that just got let go of scout teams or just got released. You know, that playbook is very similar with picking up Paul here. I do see how that continues what Zach Potter's vision was. And you know what helps as well, and you know, I think a lot of people would agree, is that Zach Potter did a lot of already early legwork before moving to Sacramento State to take up that position. Like, this isn't you're starting like right out of the gate after going out of St. Louis and getting a shutout victory. Like, there are already a ton of signings done. So this is basically like, okay, Paul's job is to basically weed out who I need now left, who I'm going to need when injuries inevitably strike during the season, and can I continue the same standard moving forward after this season, whether it is they happen to get back to the top for a championship berth, whether they're still doing that. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say yes right away to that, but again, got to play the season, but like, not even that, but like, you solidify that spot with someone, and you hope to God when the inevitable question next year happens, where is Skip coming back or not, because we've done this 2 years in a row at this point, you at least have the GM locked down, is how I view it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, that would be, if I was a Stallions fan, if I saw the news come through that Skip was stepping away, I'd be worried. But it does seem like he's setting this team up for success. I mean, quite frankly, it's they're so good. And again, like you said, we still have to play the season.
Again,
but it feels like they are just stacking upon what they've already stacked upon. They're just kind of rolling with the punches like they've always done. No worries behind them. It kind of feels like it is, as long as you keep a good amount of that talent, you might not even need somebody to the caliber of a Skip Holtz. Not that you're going to get away with it with a bad head coach, right? You still need, I think a good head coach goes a long way.
Well,
right?
what do you get if you throw a CJ onto Birmingham? That would be the ultimate question.
12-0. You asked that question after this season, Zach. You just wait. CJ Johnson, him and his iPad, he's going to make all of you apologize.
I love it. We'll see how that goes, as always.
I'm ready for it. I hope you all are. That's all I'm saying.
I'm ready for the year coming up.
Less than 2 months to go, Zachy boy.
I know.
Less than 2 months to go.
I mean, shoot, man. I mean, training camp's going to be here before you know it. Yep. That's really creeping up fast. I say signings are going to be finalized here. You're getting roster capacity pretty close now. And I think it's, as we're seeing with a lot of these signings lately, our good buddy Nick Thorne, I think, put it best. If I'm kind of quoting him correctly, now with the NFL year, you had the reserve and futures contracts go out. The season's basically starting to wrap up in the NFL, to where like your teams are starting to lock those like kind of smaller time contracts down that maybe a lot of these guys that want to play spring football were looking for. Mm-hmm. Now they can make that decision. All right, I'm not getting this. How's my UFL opportunity still looking? Right. And now they're signing these contracts back and going in like that. That's why I think you're seeing a lot of these bigger names finally land on these teams again, or like re-signs again. So, we're getting to that. There's still a few out there. Mark Gilbert, by the way, I should mention as well. That was another big name. And then Matt Mangle today. Yeah. Coming out. For the Memphis Maulers are taking quite good shape as of late.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But no, I love seeing Matt Mangle back in, because that's another one of these guys that's been around the spring football, right? We saw him all the way back from the original, not the original XFL, 2020. Sorry. Yeah. But you get my point. Yeah. Not that far back, but I mean, he knows the stuff, and he's a fun personality on the internet. So I love that for spring football.
The league needs more of it. The league needs more personalities anyway. Like, you got your Darius Victors, your Jay Sternbergers. I mean, I'll take all of them.
Jace is the character, man. Sign Jace up.
I'll take them all. Like, that's the stuff that drives interest, is not only the play, but like the people behind the play, like I'm waiting for Darius Victor still get signed back. I'm hoping to God he does not get left off the sideline. I do mean it. The man is
Houston.
The man's a gem of a human being. He needs to be on one of these teams. He's a great sideline interview. I know he didn't have as good of a year last year, but he should be on a team, damn it. I need to see him back.
Thick thighs, save lives.
You're damn right they do. Goddamn right they do.
What a fun week. And like I said, Monday, big ATU. If all things goes as planned, we should have Luis Perez there. If he's not on there that week, he'll be on there the next week. So this is why you need to subscribe. Click the bell. It builds morale. Let you know when we're live, just like we're going to be soon, with not only the spring football legend, but the bowling legend himself, Luis Perez. Before we kind of wrap things up, Zachy boy, Super Bowl is coming up. I don't know if we're going to
Is.
record another one of these episodes. We might talk about it Monday.
Do you want to save the predictions? Oh wait, crap. No, we can do this. Yeah. Let's save a prediction for Monday.
Okay.
We'll have the bigger panel. Might be one of the bigger ones we've had in a little bit, depending on how many people are available.
Depends what the weather's like in Detroit.
Depends what the weather's like in Michigan on Monday. Oh my God. That never will get old. But let's save it for then. And we'll drop it. I have my thoughts. That's all I'm gonna say. You get rematch part 2, Electric Boogaloo is what's happening. We all know the deal.
So then, Zach, you know what that leaves us to. It should be illegal for the Chicago Bears to hire Ben Johnson away from the Detroit Lions during the playoff. Maybe that was the asterisk that I should have left in there, because I'll tell you what, Zach, I put my opinion on the internet, and for some reason YouTube decided we don't want Lions fans to see this opinion. And I'll tell you, Zach, I was like, okay, let's see what keywords it's picking up. Ben Johnson, Chicago Bears podcast. No, give it to the Lions fans, YouTube. So here I am getting painted up in the comments from a bunch of Bears fans who apparently take things very literal. I don't think it should literally be illegal in that you should be sent to prison. No, I understand that. Yes, it's not against the actual literal law book, but it should be against the NFL rules, Zach, even if you're not in the division, you shouldn't be allowed to be interviewing coaches that are still coaching in the playoffs. I think that should be a rule. But, okay, fine. You're going to let them? Sure. Absolutely not in the division, Zach. You should be as angry as I am. If your team was good, let's start there. If your team was good.
If it was good. Yeah.
And you were like the number one team in the NFC, and then you bungled in your first game in the playoffs, and then 2 days later, your offensive coordinator is like, hey, I'm the Lions head coach now. What would you think? You would be just as pissed as I am. Don't tell me you wouldn't be.
I'd be mad, but my counterpoint is maybe you shouldn't choke in the divisional round.
Maybe we shouldn't have a head coach that's about to leave for our divisional rival making decisions in the game, not letting Sonic the Hedgehog, I know he's not Sonic, people just call him Sonic, I'm calling him Sonic the Hedgehog, Jamar Gibbs, run that ball, because what we saw the following week, what happened to the Commanders the next week? They got tore up. Why did they get tore up? Because they run the ball, just send him out there. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I don't know how we didn't talk about this.
I'm convinced you're just doing this to test your camera at this point, because I'm watching that thing to try and keep up. I am fully in belief you're just doing it for the camera test.
Kudos to DJ. Well, I can see my hair's going. It's coming out of the hat. This is how you know I'm in a mood. I always tell people, you can always tell about what mood I'm in by how big my hair is.
My counterpoints are, and I'm gonna drop it because I don't care. Tough shit and don't choke. I don't know what to say. Yes, the report did come out this week that he did talk to Dennis Allen earlier in the season after he got fired for this job. But you know what? Do your damn job and win and get to the Super Bowl. I was in your corner, and unfortunately, the guy that I rep hard and have to defend a lot for my buddy who apparently despises Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff as a quarterback, and he let me down in the divisional round.
He let us all down. Although I will say, the Commanders got away with a good one when they knocked Jared Goff on the head when Goff threw that interception. If that was Patrick Mahomes, we know what that call would have been. They wouldn't even have, they would have said Lions touchdown. If that was Patrick Mahomes, I guess Chiefs touchdown. They would have said, we're just giving them a touchdown for that because that's inevitably what's going to happen after we penalize you as much as we're about to penalize you for hitting the quarterback like that.
Man.
I will say this. If it was reversed, I would say the same thing you said, Zach. Tough shit, get over it. What are you going to do? Don't lose, this and that. You've had your Super Bowl, though. We haven't even gotten there. And now we're going to, the Lions are going to come back next year. I mean, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. I don't even know.
My guy, I was born 10 years after that. I have no connection. The 06 Super Bowl is the closest thing, but like, dude, we had no chance against Peyton Manning in 2006.
You at least got there. We haven't even
know.
look. And so that leads me to my next point, Zach. I curse the ref, curses the Bears to not win a championship for the next 40 years. Yeah. Bobby Lane's not the only one that can do it, buddy. I hope you enjoy it.
I'm already on 40 years. I'm already here. What do you want? What do you want from me?
40 more
add on
years.
More?
40 more years, buddy. Hope you enjoy it. Hope it was worth it. Hope Ben Johnson was worth it, buddy.
I certainly hope it is. You're probably talking to like the most reserved Bears fan of the bunch, because like
bad.
In reality, I should be way more hyped about that move, and I'm more like, okay, cool, let's win some football games now, instead of I could go into a whole Bears podcast about this. I don't want to do that, or I don't want to do that right now, because I will get into sad Bears fan.
Well, if you don't want to get hyped up, just go read the comments.
You don't want to see sad Zach. Sad Zach is not good. the people will want to leave immediately.
Well, I have a feeling you're going to be happy, Zach, next year, because our offense was pretty good. We'll see. It does sting. Finally, we're a good team. We don't just lose our offensive coordinator. We lose our defensive coordinator, too. Oh, my God. At least that went to the Jets, though.
It's a whole talent drain. I mean, you want to pull up the whole list? It's like near the whole staff at this point.
I know. And it's real fun to see them go to both the Bears and the Jets. At least the Jets, it's like, okay, they're not in the division. Now, the only thing worse than this is if he would have signed with the Packers. If he would have signed, oh my God.
Oh yeah, it'd be FTP like forever. It
Not
already
that it
is.
Isn't already.
It already is, but like, I mean, you might as well just spam it every like 2 or 3 hours at that point.
Yeah.
Got to meet quota for the day.
Again, it could be worse. So I'll tell you, I'm glad you're at least it's your team. I like you, but if it was like, again, the Packers, I might have just given up. I
like the Lions fan base a lot. There are my fan base is hard to like. I'll be honest with you, but yeah, that's just me. I work through a lot with wearing the navy and orange.
Oh, to be an NFL North fan. I mean, look at us. Look at our sad sack teams in the playoffs this year. We came in as the hardest division in the league. Couldn't even get, of the 3 teams that made it, couldn't even get a damn win.
All punted first game. Who would have guessed?
Shame. It's a damn shame. Well, that was my rant. That's all I have. I will say, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to plug my other channel. If you do want to go see me ranting about this in a more longer form, it's a longer form. It's like 3 minutes, so it's probably shorter than I was here.
Longish form.
It's over there. And I am dropping a video. I won't spoil it, but it is in regards to the Super Bowl and who will or will not win. There might be a couple videos after I talk to Zach. So we'll see how funny we want to get with it. But that'll drop probably Monday or something. I don't know. It's coming.
Head on over. Just look up the ref sets. You'll find his stuff. It's
exactly.
His Bears one I thought was pretty hilarious. And I would say Bears fans in their own way agreed. It's probably the best way I can put it.
And YouTube, I mean, what are you doing to me here? I will say I was shocked that the YouTube algorithm even pushed it out, because I have not, dude, it has been 2 years since I've uploaded a video to that channel. So,
so that's what's crazy, is that used to be what this channel is now.
Yeah, we just swapped them. So I figure, why not? I mean, it's sitting there. Might as well use it. It's got a whole boatload of stuff on there. So anyway, more content to look forward to. And then Monday we got even more content.
ATU.
7 years of content coming. This is what we do.
Growing ATU going into its second season. By the way, this is the official start of season 4 of the UFL podcast. Just wanted to double check, because we did finish episode 93 was the finale of season 3. So everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining, as well as I end this to season 4, as we kick things off to what will be a bountiful next year of the UFL Podcast. And by the way, guys, if you want to help and support the show as well as our other stuff for PFN, got a few ways to do that. Again, join in with the community, click the Discord link and join the PFN Discord. If you want, follow us at UFL Podcast on your favorite platforms everywhere. Any social you can imagine, we are on it one way or another. Also check out Around the UFL. Again, Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern time, we'll be jumping on. And right now, looking like Luis Perez should be joining us. We will say, at least for the moment, because we got it, things do change. But if this does change, we are working on that, and hopefully have the King Spring on in due time. But yeah, check us out Around the UFL for us and a few other personalities in the PFN crew doing our roundtable discussion, which will be for the season and more. Support us, Breaking Tea. You want alternative UFL t-shirts? They're one of the best third-party suppliers. Check us out and help support the show by using our code USFL Newsroom at checkout. Yes, that is the correct code, USFL Newsroom. Save you 10% off, and we get a little bit of kickback to help support our efforts with keeping this channel and the website running as well, by the way. Also, we still, I believe, have the USFL podcast code for Royal Retros.
We're just pulling them all out.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it back out. Yeah, save some coin there. They got some good stuff we checked back lately, and they're doing some work with not only them, but others too. I know that they are helping supply stuff for AF1. So if you are interested in any arena football content or any gear, they're supplying a lot of that stuff. So check them out. They've done some great work. I got a few of their jerseys. Yeah, they make good stuff. So check them out too, royalretros.com. Use USFL Podcast at checkout for, I believe it's 10% off as well when you do that. And again, that kicks back, helps us out, keeping the lights on over here at PFN. So yeah, I think any other final words? Any more rants you want to get off your chest?
Shit, I can probably pull out a rant if I want to. There was actually something I was thinking about, and I just can't remember what it was, but I don't know. Stay tuned. Follow over on social media. I'll got something.
Actually, yeah. No, save it for the ref says. Yeah, it's how you can drag them over. By the way, and again, subscribe, click the bell, builds morale, not only for you, but for us too. Keep on climbing the ladder. You guys have been great for the last 3 going on now 4 years of supporting this channel, and especially our ventures into the UFL podcast, or used to be USFL podcast space, with this show. So thank you all again. We'll catch you for episode 95 sooner rather than later. Again, season's churning up, so these episodes will keep on being more regular to the point where we'll start doing weekly shows when the season and training camp kicks off. So until then, he's the ref. I'm Zach Kylman. We'll catch you next time. Thank you all. Stay tuned for the next one.
So, and it worked. It did stop it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I checked it in the YouTube. I had it open as well. Okay, cool.